with institutions of higher learning to address skills and innovation gaps.
Using the network and the strategies that we have at Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry to come and target this same youth that will be the future of our country. We are looking at creating a generation of job creators, a generation of wealth creators, and this is how the fortunes of our country will be turned.
Working with the university is important because universities are the engines of knowledge. And as long as a university becomes more entrepreneurial, innovative, thinks outside the box, they then become the engine of knowledge of the future and not just the past.
Elsewhere, parents have been urged to be vigilant during the long holiday season to ensure their children are protected from bad influence. According to a section of stakeholders in the education sector, many cases of teenage pregnancies and increased cases of new HIV infection among the youth is as a result of poor parenting. They challenged parents as well as guardians to closely monitor their children's movement to ensure they uphold good morals at all times. They spoke during at an event to celebrate the exemplary performance of the student at Light International Academy in Nairobi.
Over the years, we have produced some of the world-topping students, and this year our student Jamal Mohammed was the best in the country in mathematics at the year 13 level. At the moment, already gone to university.
The achievements of these students being top in Kenya in English language, global perspectives and Turkish reflects their hard work and dedication to their studies.
How I really achieved what I achieved was thanks to my drive and to understand these IT things, my drive to become top in the world, because I've always wanted that. And top in Kenya, of course, just like my brother. And then the last thing I'd appreciate the most is the environment that the school has created for me. My parents, the teachers, the schoolmates, my colleagues, my seniors, everyone was so helpful during this process.
I was able to achieve top in Kenya for the global perspective subject. The global perspective subject revolves around research, and you get to develop your research skills.
Kisii County Branch has criticized Kenya National Examination Council (KNEC) for recalling examiners preparing to mark this year's examinations. Led by Kisii County Branch Executive Secretary Joseph Abincha claimed the next move was against internationally accepted labor practices. Abincha warned the teachers who are examiners should not be punished for suspected exam irregularities in their schools when they were not engaged as invigilators. He made the remark during the funeral of a KUPPET member, Joab Onyaro, in Bomachoge Borabu, where he petitioned Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migoso Gamba to prevail upon the next decision and review it.
Who was just comfortable at their home, waiting for this year's December to go and mark the examinations. It's uncalled for. As a union and as teachers leaders, we are saying it is a no. Let this thing be reviewed, and we are calling upon the CS, Minister of Education, Mr. Gamba, kindly move with a lot of speed, talk with the Kenya National Examination Council to review their stand on this.
Now, parents have been urged to embrace children with disabilities in efforts geared towards ending stigma. The cause comes at a time when children with disability continue to be locked in houses, with some missing out on going to school. Despite gains made towards ensuring people with disability are treated equally, lack of awareness continues to prove a challenge, especially at the community level. Speaking during a stakeholder engagement forum at the Kiambu Polytechnic, some of the people with disability lamented about difficulties in accessing funds and assistive devices meant for them.
Well, ameambiwa atoke shuleni, miaka yake imepita, amerudi kule nyumbani. Mzazi hana uwezo wa kuajiri caregiver, and you need to go source for food for that child. Si utamwacha kwa nyumba. Sometimes we don't understand this parents.
Mambo hii nyingi serikali inafanya, sisi walemavu huku mashinani hatuipati. Unaona wanasema kuna pesa imekuwa released, lakini kuifikia sometimes inakuwa shida sana.
Tumeweza kuweka mikakati kuensure ya kwamba persons with disabilities have access to most of the buildings, though bado, lakini tunajaribu kuensure ya kwamba we are doing disability mainstreaming.
Ukiangalia kama hapa Kiambu kwetu, unaona kuna mambo mingi, hatua mingi ambazo zimeweza kupitia. Kama saa hii tuko na Disability Act in Kiambu County.
Parents in Nakuru County have been urged to stay vigilant and ensure their children do not engage in immoral behavior during the December festivities. Speaking during the closure of one-week campaign program at Rohi Girls School, Bishop Anthony Mambo emphasized that parents should take responsibility for the proper upbringing of their children. He stressed the importance of monitoring the children, especially on their social circles.
Tabia ya kupeleka watoto kwa babu zetu nyumbani. Wakati huo inaonyesha kwamba tunapotelea majukumu yetu na hatuna wakati mwingine wa kukutana na watoto wetu na kuwajua. Wamekuwa shuleni, wamefunga shule, wamekuja, tumeweka katika mabasi na magari, tumepeleka nyumbani. Kwa hivyo wazazi wakubali kuchukua jukumu lao, waache kupotelea jukumu lao, kwamba watoto wako shuleni, ni walimu, watoto wamerudi nyumbani, wanapelekewa babu zao nyumbani, huko ndio wanafunziwa.
Now, an intergovernmental agency has sounded an alarm on the health of truck drivers who move cargo from the port of Mombasa and call for urgent regional intervention. The Mombasa-based Northern Corridor Transit and Transport Coordination Authority officials said that a recent test at Malaba showed that 60% of the truck drivers have different health conditions. The truck drivers underwent eye checkups, high blood pressure and diabetes tests, among other ailments. The medical clinic was conducted after a road safety campaign that started from the port of Mombasa.
Drivers were not as safe as we thought. It was not about driving skills, but about them and their own health. That took us further to think about the whole community along the corridor. One is to have some sort of a structured or institutional resemblance on how to handle this, because health issues, now what happens in Kenya, Kenya reacts alone without the proper institutional setup that coordinates with the authority, other than traditional institutions that have traditional roles. One. Two, we are going to look at transcendence policies. What policies do we have that bring countries together to treat this as a common affair?
Now, the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife, in collaboration with residents of Mumoni Ward in Mwingi North, have planted 14,000 trees to combat climate change. Dr. John Chumo, Wildlife Conservation Secretary in the State Department of Tourism and Wildlife, said climate change has led to human-wildlife conflict, which has forced the ministry to compensate millions of money to affected Kenyans. Kitui Deputy Governor Wambua Kanani added that the county government is on the front line in ensuring it fights against desertification.
We need to conserve the forest. Hii mvua unakuja hapa ikuji just for the sake of kuja, because sababu ya hii mlima vile imekuwa maintained. Amongst the areas zile ziko na mvua kubwa Kitui, hapo Mumoni ni moja yao.
It is also a very crucial exercise to restore what we call forest cover, and even to enhance what we call biodiversity and reverse the impacts of deforestation within our country.
For the last 1 year, we have paid about 960 million to compensate those ones who had actually been harmed by the different animals like the elephants. And what we are actually saying is that we currently have a big, pending bill because of this human-wildlife conflict coming as a result of climate change.
The Kenya National Highway Authority, KENHA, has automated all way bridges along the Northern Corridor in a bid to address the perennial traffic jams. The authority has erected a high-speed weighing sensor system at way bridges following recent cases of traffic snarl-up, some lasting for hours. According to KENHA Assistant Operation Manager Jackson Kimunyu, 99% of the trucks using the corridors were filtered through the new automation system. Speaking at Gilgil Weighbridge, Kimuyu said among the way bridges that have benefited are Gilgil, Mai Mahio, Suswa, while a number of the mobile way bridges along the corridor has been increased.
But generally, after installation of high-speed in motion systems, a lot of traffic is filtered, so there are no traffic snarl-ups along the road, and it would also be good if the road is also expanded.
Now, in a world where skills are increasingly the key to job opportunities, Kenya's dual technical vocational education and training programs are instrumental in connecting learners with industries. The dual TVET program, which combines classroom learning with practical experience in workplaces, is changing the face of education in the country. Our reporter Joseph Ohungu examines how this program, which started 5 years ago, is preparing learners for the ever-changing market needs.
A subtle change is transforming education and job opportunities in the country. The dual technical vocational education and training program is a source of hope for young people aiming to succeed in a tough job market. This creative method combines classroom learning with practical industry experience, readying the future workforce with essential skills, as is revealed by Nairobi Technical Training Institute Principal Dr. Gloria Mutungi.
Several studies have been made on mismatch of training and the industry. This is the end of it. Because initially, we were training for the industries without them even asking for the trainees. This model brings us the situation where the industry identifies, we need you to train for us in these areas.
For Samuel Mulatia, who is training to become an automotive engineer, the combined program has created opportunities he could only dream of. Samuel's story resonates with the other several budding automotive engineers who have benefited from the program, which is connecting classroom with the industries.
I do find the TVET program very helpful because, at least as I had said earlier, it gives you the chance to be in the industry at least for a 50% time of the time you'll be in school. 50% in school, 50% in the industry. So at least you won't be relying so much on the theory that you are learning. At least you will have that practical knowledge.
Over 65 TVETs are currently implementing dual training, with 1,500 local industries participating in training and over 3,300 trainees onboarded since the inception of the program in 2019.
So these are students who go through a 3-year process where they learn just not technical skills, but they're also learning soft skills. They're learning how to talk to customers. They're learning how to talk to their own employers. They're learning how to talk to their team. Communication is vital, and so we just find that these students are far more mature when they come out of this TVET program.
I am happy Auto Express have joined in the dual TVET training. It is really helpful, but with the skills you learn, there's always something you can apply somewhere.
Although the program has great potential, there are still obstacles to overcome, with some TVET institutions struggling with outdated equipment, while others face difficulties securing enough industry partnership. The government is, however, reiterating its commitment to introduce policies and incentives that encourage more industries to come on board and ensure the dual training is fully implemented in the TVET space.
As a department, we have decided that engaging with industry is what we are focusing on this year. And if you go to all my institutions, you will find that the principals are working very hard as individuals to be able to leverage the industries around themselves so that they speak to them into wanting and the importance of us training with industry, because we want to train with industry, for industry, and about industry.
And now to the northern part of the country, where investigations are underway to establish circumstances under which a 14-year-old schoolgirl was sexually assaulted by an officer serving at Lodwar Prison in Turkana County. The officer serving on the rank of constable is said to have stalked his colleague's daughter and defiled her. Organization tasked with defending children's rights have, however, faulted security agencies for the lack or delaying of apprehending of the suspect.
This defilement took place in September. Up to now, the perpetrator has not been brought to books. So that's why, as we celebrate the 30th day of 16 days of activism, we are here following up this matter, demanding the DCI of Turkana County to speed up, that is the arrest and bring to books the perpetrator.
And in other news, a section of the civil society groups has raised an alarm on what it termed as a shrinking civic space. Speaking in Madare, the lobby group urged other civil society groups to reclaim their space as the society's watchdog. They at the same time called for stringent measures to take on perpetrators of gender-based violence.
Human rights, and human rights are very intersectional, and any form of violence should not be condoned. Kenya was just elected recently at the United Nations UN Security Council. We are seeing increase of abduction in this country. We are seeing increase of criminalization of civic space. We are seeing a lot of governments now being more right-wing, which is going to put a lot of our lives in danger.
We are saying no to any sort of violence, be it gender-based violence, be it what and what and what, all the violences. We are saying no to them.
I would like for the government and all of those who are responsible to take the crisis, the urgency of femicide cases in this country seriously. Across the world, 1 in 3 women experience gender-based violence, physical, intimate partner violence, emotional violence, and worse crimes like femicide.
Bunge la Mwananchi has filed a petition at the Parliament seeking it to probe violations of the Constitution by the Kenya National Highway Authority leadership. The president of the lobby group, Frank Awino, attributed the poor road network to laxity at KENHA. The group is now calling on measures to be taken to save the country's deteriorating road transport system.
In this petition, we have questioned the legality and the constitutionality of the hiring process. We have equally questioned the capacity and the qualification of Mr. Ndungu in the process, and equally we have questioned the validity of the outcome of the hiring process. And we have affirmed in the petition with conviction, we have declared that the process of consideration and confirmation of Engineer Ndungu as the Director General of KENHA was based on misrepresented facts, and it was based on falsified academic credentials.
And we are pointing out to KENHA DG, we have evidence beyond reasonable doubt that he has not attained.
Viva, viva, viva! Viva! Bunge la Mwananchi! Huku mashinani!
In a move that will seek to combat the adverse effects occasioned by climate change, Kenyans have been urged to actively take part in bamboo farming. Speaking at Alupe University during the 12th summit of the Lake Region Economic Bloc, heads of programs at Eco Green Kenya, Jacqueline Namadi, reiterated the importance of the exercise, further adding that bamboo farming will boost the country's forest cover. Namadi added that 6,000 farmers in Busia County have already embraced bamboo farming, while 5,000 hectares of land is under bamboo cover. She further added that over 2,000 households have benefited directly from bamboo products. The 3-day summit will be centered on food security and building of partnership and resilience within the Lake Region Economic Bloc.
Kwa hivyo hapa tunawakilisha mianzi, tukionyesha jinsi vile mianzi iko na kazi ambazo inaweza kufanya katika misitu yetu, kuboresha misitu, kuongeza hali ya misitu katika taifa letu, na pia kupunguza makali ya umaskini katika jamii zetu.
Makueni Governor Mutula Kilonzo Jr. is urging the national government to reduce taxes on medicine, especially those used to support expectant mothers and also support women who have complications after childbirth. This comes as a non-governmental organization, that is GPEGO, provided a medical aid to help mothers who have given birth and are suffering from various complications after childbirth.
Tutauliza serikali tuangalie bei ya madawa haya ambayo yanazuia wananchi kutoaga dunia ama kuwasaidia katika mambo mengi, hasa wanawake ambao ni wengi na wanajifungua na wanafaa kuwa wanapata huduma. Hili tupunguze kodi ambayo inalipishwa madawa. Jambo la pili la muhimu, tujaribu tutafute wafadhili ambao wanaweza kuja katika nchi yetu kuweza kuanza kutengeneza madawa hayo hapa. Wale ambao najua walikuwa wanataka kutengeneza madawa haya hapa walipata njia ngumu sana ya kuweza kuzindua dawa hii katika nchi yetu, kwa sababu walisumbuliwa sana na vitu tunafanya bureaucracy ambayo hatufai.
And now to the corridors of justice, while the High Court sitting in Kiambu County has barred Kiambu County Assembly from proceeding with a motion that seeks to bar nominated members of the County Assembly from taking part in voting, especially on matters relating to ward development. The elected MCAs argue that they are answerable to the electorate and therefore should be the ones that have the sole responsibility of making decisions on behalf of the people they represent. This and more is in our Skills of Justice Roundup.
The High Court sitting in Kiambu has barred debate on a motion brought before the Kiambu County Assembly seeking to strip Kiambu-nominated MCA's power to vote on bills relating to ward development tabled by Riabai MCA Hezron Gashui. Making the communication at the County Assembly, Speaker Samuel Thiongo said the motion will not be allowed to continue since they cannot go against a valid court order, and that the only way is for the respondents to file an application over the matter so that a conclusive ground could be found.
Na mimi nawaomba wamama, already motion yangu haikuwa inapinga wamama at any way. Ilikuwa inasema tuwe tunapiga kura kwa delegation katika hii bunge.
Tunaomba ya kwamba tukubaliwe kuvote by delegation, ili mimi nikirusha kura niko na responsibility ya watu wa ward yangu na naweza kufanya public participation ya watu wa ward yangu, naweza kuvote venye wanataka.
However, the issue sparked protest from protagonists of the motion who lamented that the move was against the law. Elsewhere, 3 suspects have been charged with conspiracy to defraud and obtaining goods by false pretense. Elias Kimboy, Andrew Masaku, Amos Njuguna and Halima Mwongera on diverse dates at Nairobi City obtained from Josephine Kaberia Trading as Talos Group goods valued at 19,820,000 shillings, falsely by pretending that the goods were for school feeding program. They appeared before Chief Magistrate Dolphin Alego at Milimani Court, where they denied the charges. The suspects were released on bond of 1 million shillings or cash bail of 500,000 shillings. The case will be mentioned on 4th of December, while the hearing will be on January 9th, 2025.
And on the political front, a section of ODM members in Kilifi County want the grassroots elections nullified and repeated, claiming that the elections were interfered with by politicians from other political parties. According to the party members, some constituencies failed to participate in the polls amid confusion, with disruptions reported in few open polling stations.
Allegations of infiltration by politicians from other political parties rocked the grassroots elections in Kilifi County. Some party members in Rabai constituency failed to participate in the polls amid total confusion with no election officials on site.
Uchaguzi umeingiliwa sana na matanzi vingine vetu sisi hapa Kilifi, kama vile kama UDA, kama vingine vote, we can name them. Wameingilia hapa ni kama kuharibu uchaguzi wa ODM. Na watu wa ODM wamejengwa kifikra kwamba hizi shida zote ni shida za ukweli.
Disruptions were also reported in the few open polling stations. However, in Malindi, Kilifi South, Kilifi North, Ganze and Kaloleni constituencies, the elections went on smoothly, with most leaders elected through consensus.
Hili limefanyika vizuri na uchaguzi wenyewe umefanyika kwa njia ile ya kunyosha mikono, yani uwazi, mahali parawanja wazi na watu wakachaguana bila shida.
In Kajiado County, two factions of the ODM party have emerged, rooting for two different modes of grassroots elections. One wing, led by Governor Joseph Lenku and several ODM elected and nominated leaders, opted for boardroom consensus, while a splinter group led by former Senator and ODM Board of Elections chairperson Judith Pareno opted for actual grassroots elections to pick their leaders.
We are happy to inform the ODM family that the ongoing grassroots elections are happening, albeit with a parallel group on the side. We want them to be careful so that they are not duped to go to the wrong side.
Finally, ODM National Chairperson Gladys Wanga has declared that the party will clinch the presidency of the country in the 2027 general election. Speaking when she voted during the ODM grassroots election at Alara Korayo polling centre in Kochia Ward, Rangwe constituency, Wanga announced that the party is on a drawing board to enable it come up with feasible strategies of capturing power.
The purpose of any political party is to capture power. And for us to capture power, we have to be organized, we have to be vibrant, we at the very grassroots level where we come from.
Residents of Kaloleni, Kilifi County have a reason to smile after two boreholes in Kanjongoni and Biningala were rehabilitated after being dysfunctional for over 10 years now. Rehabilitation's efforts were spearheaded by the Kilifi County government in conjunction with the Islamic Relief. The boreholes were officially handed over to the community, serving over 50,000 people in Kayafungo and Biningala areas, with efforts to address the region's persistent water challenges.
Sahi wakina mama wanafurahikia, wamepata maji ya karibu. Mifugo wetu pia hatuna uzito sana, tulikuwa tuna shida na mifugo wanakosa maji kwa muda mrefu.
Na tumeona vile kina mama ambao wamepata maji hapa wamefurahia sana. Walikuwa tumeanza kumaka, hatujui tutapata wapi maji ya mifugo, maji ya kuoga, maji ya kupikia.
This borehole you are seeing has been off for the last 10 years, and people are really appreciating the role and what the Islamic Relief has did for this borehole. Coming to water issue, the water issue was really a problematic to this particular community.
It is 26 minutes past the hour. We need to take our first commercial break. Don't go too far. Still engage us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and at Abdiaziz Hashim 2. Don't go too far.
Are you thinking about your future? Saving through a registered retirement benefits plan offers amazing benefits that make a difference when it matters most. A registered retirement benefits plan allows you to save up to 20,000 shillings every month tax-free. An investment income from a pension scheme is tax-exempt, meaning your money grows even faster, especially when you add the compound interest. Your retirement benefits provide a basic, reasonable income after your working life, preventing old age poverty and offering contingency funds in cases of ill health, death, or other disruptions. It acts as a safety net upon loss of employment, like during the COVID-19 pandemic, and offers financial protection to your dependents. Plus, it can cover post-retirement medical costs, one of the biggest expenses for retirees. Secure your future and enjoy your retirement to the fullest with a registered pension plan. Plan today for a brighter tomorrow. For more information, visit our website www.rda.go.ke, call our toll-free line 0800 720 300, or email info@rba.go.ke. Secure your future. Secure your peace of mind. RBA, safeguarding your retirement benefits.
Nenda nitakueleza mahali penyewe baadaye.
Nangojea. Lakini ukinihada, nitakueleza nilionayo mbele ya mkeo. Samahani, mbele ya Naomi na Rama.
Kama humpendi mtu Linda, hili umwambie. Na kama unampenda pia, mwambie ajue. Sidhani nitakuona tena. Na hata hivyo kama ningekuwa hapa bado, mambo yetu yangekuwa yameishia hapa hapa.
Rama, kwanza ufai kumuita babako kwa sasa. Umesikia? Huyo ni mume wangu. Alikuwa babako ulipokuwa mdogo.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now to Bungoma County, where women from the devolved unit have vowed to roll out awareness campaign aimed at capturing more elective positions in the coming general election. Speaking during the ECONET Work Africa workshop held at Siritamu Resort on the outskirts of Bungoma town, Bungoma Deputy Governor, that is Jennifer Mbatani, said the campaign targets at least 12 seats.
That for the last 3 years we have worked with our partners in UN Women and in ECHO and with the county government here to work on a programme to address gender-based violence and empowerment of women, working with communities and at the grassroots level, but also with the county government. So we're very pleased to be here, myself and a number of members of my team, to hear for ourselves the stories of the impact that the program has already had.
So tuko hapa tulikuwa na mkutano ya kuhamasisha kina mama, viongozi na other stakeholders. Tunasemezana juu ya uongozi ya kina mama na lengo lao kubwa ni kwamba tunataka tuhakikishe tunaongeza idadi ya kina mama katika uongozi.
Welcome to the world of business. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Dr. Andrew Karanja has called on Kenyan innovators to explore diversification opportunities in coffee and tea value chains, emphasizing that this will accelerate the country's industrialization process. Speaking during the ongoing Intra-Africa Coffee and Chocolate Trade Week in Nairobi, Dr. Karanja urged stakeholders to tap into the untapped market opportunities within the sector.
Diversification within the coffee and tea sectors is key to not only boosting local economies, but also positioning Kenya as a major global player in the coffee and tea trade. Dr. Karanja says the rising global demand for specialty coffee, flavored teas, and coffee derivatives such as oils, cosmetics, and supplements are areas with untapped potential for growth.
I encourage all stakeholders here today to think beyond the current trends and seek out innovative solutions to challenges that hinder growth, whether it is through joint ventures, trade missions, collaborative research. We must think of ways to add value to our products and diversify our offerings.
Trading in the continent, we have a lot of products, not only coffee and chocolate. We have also vegetable oils. We need to embrace our own products. How best can we do this? We need to trade with each other. So AFCFTA has a very, very important, because AFCTA is going to help you to actually trade.
Industry players in the sector who are speaking during the Intra-Africa Coffee and Chocolate Trade Week are encouraging Kenyan farmers and entrepreneurs to shift from raw exports to processed goods that will yield greater value.
Forest Alliance supports coffee and cocoa farmers in Africa to comply with social and economic standards through our Sustainable Agriculture Standard Certification Program.
We really are pushing for them to start, entrepreneurs to actually open the businesses there, because the opportunities in Dubai is vast. It's quite huge, and opportunities to actually grow a business there is also very big, for entrepreneurs especially.
Frederick Moki for Lunchtime News.
At least 50 hospitality graduates have secured placements with Europe-based Quazon Corporation as the government intensifies efforts to facilitate job placement for Kenyans abroad. Sylvester Njuguna, the director of the Thika-based hospitality institution Cascade, says graduates will work as front desk agents, concierge, restaurant managers, chefs, waiters and waitresses, and sommeliers, among other areas in the hospitality sector.
The government has been seeking to send 250,000 Kenyans to work abroad each year as part of its job creation strategy. So far, more than 105,000 Kenyans have benefited from job opportunities abroad in the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, Saudi Arabia and Bahrain, according to the government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura, summing the number to over 3 million Kenyans who currently work overseas. Recently, graduates from Thika-based Cascade Institute of Hospitality have been selected after rigorous training and interviews and will begin working for leading cruise companies in various parts of the world in a move that is hoped to enhance Kenya's diaspora remittances.
This marks a very special day at Cascade Institute of Hospitality because we will make sure that all the students that have gathered today will get the opportunities available, and especially at the cruise ship.
More bilateral negotiations with other countries are underway to expand the Kenya's labor export market beyond its traditional destinations.
A step higher and do a lot of research on the available opportunities on seas, on land, on air, and then connect our former students.
Winslow Spamba for Lunchtime News.
Farmers in the coast region are being urged to shift from traditional coconut varieties to hybrid species to boost yields and meet the growing demand for the cash crop. The call comes amid a growing interest in hybrid coconut farming, which is expected to revolutionize the coconut industry in the country.
While the coconut industry has remained an important cash crop for the coast region, farmers have been struggling to meet the increasing demand for coconuts due to low productivity of the traditional varieties. To address this, the Micro Enterprise Support Program Trust and the Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization have partnered with Kilifi County Government to support farmers to adopt hybrid coconut farming.
We decided to put in some grant financing to see how can we introduce a hybrid variety that is fast growing and high yielding.
We are promoting the uptake of hybrid coconut as an alternative for smallholder farmers here towards increased productivity per unit area and increased commercialization.
Unlike the traditional African tall varieties that yield fewer than 50 coconuts per tree per season, the Indian Sampona hybrid can produce up to 350 coconuts annually.
And also it takes less time than the usual normal our own varieties which are around here.
Hiyo tumehakikisha na tumeiona, na tunataka hayo wakulima wote wa Kilifi, Kwale, Tana River, Lamu na sehemu zote zilioko pwani na hata sehemu zingine waukumbatie mradi huu.
Role ya county ni kupeana planting material kwa wakulima. Je, sisi kama county tunaweza saidia namna gani ili kusudi wakulima wetu wapate hizi hybrids? Hilo ndio swala nyeti.
The Micro Enterprise Support Program Trust says it is exploring ways to establish local seedling production facilities to make the high-yielding varieties more affordable to farmers. Trevor Nyendo for Lunchtime News.
Now, residents of Kwale County want the government to consider their concerns over the development of a 500 billion shillings nuclear power plant in Uyombo village in the neighboring Kilifi County. The residents say they want to be informed further about the impact of such a facility in case Kwale becomes an alternative location for the project. The government has been carrying out public sensitization exercises in potentially affected areas.
Serikali imelenga kwamba by 2034 kiwanda cha nuclear kiwe kimesimama na kiwe kinaweza kufanya kazi. Lakini sisi tushajitayarisha, tumeweza kuelimisha jamii kuhusiana na swala zima la nuclear ili wakifika huku sisi tuwe tumejipanga.
Ni janga ambalo kwamba ukilifuatafuata utaona kwamba ni faida, lakini si faida, ni hasara kwetu sisi.
Kwa sababu tumeambiwa yana athari kubwa ambayo athari zake zitafanya mpaka vizazi vyetu tunavyovizaa vinavyoishi ambao vitaishi milele vitakuwa vimeathirika.
Now to some good news, where Kenya's candidate for the Codex Alimentarius Commission, Dr. Alanza Zengelem, has been elected as the chair of the commission in Geneva, Switzerland. Livestock Development Principal Secretary Jonathan Mweke, in a statement, said Dr. Azengele has consistently demonstrated exemplary professional and integrity throughout his career, adding that the achievement underscores Kenya's commitment to global food safety and quality standards. The Codex Alimentarius Commission is a collection of internationally recognized standards, codes of practice, guidelines and other recommendations published by the Food and Agriculture Organization FAO and the World Health Organization WHO of the United Nations relating to food and food production, food labeling and food safety. Kenya hopes to support a seamless flow of food products through fair trade, and this can only be achieved through Codex standards. And now this afternoon in our business segment interview, we'll be focusing about the food security, especially here in the country, and what strides we have made so far. You do know that agriculture, it is the food basket of the country, and of course it contributes largely to the country's gross domestic product. Joining us is none other than Ambassador Bramwell Kisuya, who is the Food Security and Institutional Linkages Director at TVET. Thank you so much for coming in, Ambassador.
Thank you for having
Maybe the
me.
first question, Ambassador, just tell us, as a country, are we food secure?
As a country, we have tried, but we are not adequately food secure. You know, the understanding of food secure is that an individual is able to have adequate supplies of high quality and able also to enable other social factors to take place, you know, and one should be able also to eat what is of one's liking in whatever form is required, but we have some challenges there. We could do better. Yes.
And what measures can we take to reach where you're saying we should be 100% food secure?
A very important initiative has been undertaken by the Ministry of Agriculture, having noted that as the situation is now, every institution involved in agriculture is doing the best they can. But the situation is not adequately addressed. So as a result, there has been an initiative to consult all players in the agricultural sector over the past 1 year to get an understanding of what they see as the challenges, which challenges have now been documented. And broadly, we understand that unless we address value chains specific approach, right, by going right at the ward level And at the ward level, we identify institutions, particularly schools, 24,000 schools, public schools countrywide, and the ecosystem around that schools, including cooperatives, women groups, and many other institutions, so that we are able to have an approach that is a one for all approach, to be able to act as one. We need to know who is doing what, so that we operate in a manner that is well coordinated to be able to achieve what we want. And perhaps I'll give one analogy, that from an individual's point of view, if your health is good, you'll be productive. If any section, any aspect of your health, whether it's an eye or a hand or whatever it is not functioning appropriately, the entire system gets into a problem. Similarly, in the agriculture sector, whereas we have got many players in it, agriculture ministry is doing its best it can. The Ministry of Water and Industry are doing their best, but there is a need to optimize productivity. Hence, now the resolution to look at value chain approach, so that we optimize at every value chain node. How do we ensure we maximize production and productivity? And thereby, along the value chain, we are able to ensure that the distribution process is adequately empowered to be able to enhance productivity, distribution, consumption, and the entire value chain is able now to bring on board various skilled persons to be able to increase productivity, increase consumption, and availability of the commodities of a wide range and diversity, thereby enabling individuals who have various tastes, various likings, not only in Kenya, even abroad. We are now saying our own diaspora people who have been in Kenya many years are now missing the dietary advantages that we have in our own local commodities, should be able to be approached. Yes, should be able to access these commodities, agricultural commodities, and thereby they're able to satisfy their needs, their food security, and as a result, our foreign exchange inflows will also increase. So that's the kind of approach the Ministry of Agriculture is now looking at. How do we work together with all players, development partners, various ministries, various development partners, and it's calling it a multi-sectoral, interministerial, and coming together to work out a plan at the grassroots level to increase productivity and production as well.
And of course, you know, technology has played a key role in various sectors. Agriculture has not been an exception. And of course, what are these farming practices that farmers can adopt, especially inculcating technology? And this is where the youth come in. You just clearly stated that you're going to even the words in themselves. So will this, at the end of the day, ensure that technology is being embraced in terms of the farming practices and also in terms of job creation?
Now, what we have identified is that in Kenya, when you talk about technologies, they are available. When you talk about credit, it's available. Anything that needs to be put in use to increase production and productivity is available. But we need now to strengthen those linkages in such a manner that they work as one, so that when we plan together, we are able to know which group is going to produce in terms of value chains. What type of value chain is going to be produced? Those who are in coffee, those who are in maybe sugarcane, those who are in vegetables, those who are in dry lands, friendly crops, are adequately empowered to be productive. And that way we'll be able to put to use the technologies required, the credit required, and other requirements, including training, which, as we understand now, we are well endowed. All we need to do is work together as a team, and we address that.
Back to my question, I've just asked you in terms of making the agriculture attractive to many youths. You do know unemployment is a major crisis here in the country, and many youths do not want to engage, especially in agriculture. There are some who have, and there are others who are opting not to. So what can you do to make this attractive at the end of the day to ensure that the country is food secure?
What's important is awareness creation of the opportunities that are available. Using various media, social media, we'll also need radio, we'll need television and various youth-friendly media to communicate to them about the opportunities that are inherent. And one needs to understand that the jobs that the youth are looking towards, Kenya being an agricultural economy, actually should come or is expected to come from agricultural activities at the grassroots level. So we need to make them understand that agriculture is the background. Any other value addition activities they intend to work on will not emerge unless we optimize productivity in agriculture, because value addition is on commodities that emerge from agricultural activities. So that's the intensification that we need to do, and we would like to have a situation where even KBC, I know, if you look at my age, I know where KBC has come from. And in the 70s, 80s, when the agricultural sector was doing very well, when the cooperative sector was doing very well, KBC was at the forefront, creating awareness on how well to do it. But now with the social media in place, we need to say how well a coordinated approach will be able to put in place to make youth understand that agriculture and the value addition opportunities are there to tap into.
And as we're coming to a close, you do know that climate change is a major factor. It has contributed largely not just to the agricultural sector, but to our way of living. Now, how have you ensured that farmers address and grow climate resilient crops so that at the end of the day, we are food secure as a country?
We have put in place various institutions that address various technological and climate-related concerns. We are working, for example, with INCRISAT. We are working with the TAT program, which is related to seed roadmaps, that we are putting in place to address all that. We are looking at various agencies that contribute, which we have in Kenya adequately, that can contribute to climate smart farming. And with that in place, working in a coordinated approach at the ward level, at the school level, through the cooperatives, and along the entire value chain where various ministries, we are now bringing them together. But right now we are looking at in tomorrow's function, hopefully you'll be participating when we formally launch the consultative process that will culminate into key partnerships. Tomorrow we're hoping you'll be in place to see the kind of agreed position going forward to address a comprehensive climate approach to address those concerns.
And of course, in that particular conference that will be happening tomorrow, what are these emerging issues, trends that you'll be addressing there so that the farmers at the end of the day do good farming practices?
Now, one thing we need to appreciate is this. Kenya is having a challenge in terms of employment creation. And what we are understanding is that once we address productivity of each of the meanwhile 16 value chains that have been targeted by the ministry as part of the more than 20 better bottom-up economic transformation agenda crops. With that in place, as we go phase by phase, we will be able to showcase the need for farmers to increase productivity. And that means extension services, agripreneurs, and other key players will have to work together with key plans at the grassroots level with what we are calling a participatory approach, where all the key stakeholders focusing at the county level, we are able to estimate how many jobs can be created from each of the value chain and who will be responsible for which action at each of the value chain node. So that is in place, and it will address productivity. And as it does that, farmers will be enthused to increase production, because we've looked at the need to have the key ministries, like Ministry of Water, to make sure water is available, Ministry of Industry to facilitate value addition, Ministry of Foreign Affairs to facilitate how we can reach the diaspora to be able to consume some of our commodities, and more importantly, at the grassroots level, how can we ensure the children?
Okay, Ambassador, we are running out of time. Thank you so much. And of course, the function that the Ambassador is talking about is the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock in collaboration with Innovative from TETAGI, Strategic Program Planners Academic Placement Solutions, and aligned ministries will mark the official launch of the transformative of that particular institute. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for coming in. This is Ambassador Bramwell Kisuya, who is the Food Security and Institutional Linkages Director at TETAGI. Thank you so much for coming in.
I actually consultant, not director.
Oh, director. Thank you so much.
Consultant, thank you.
Okay, we move on now. The government has been urged to work with nutrition stakeholders to create policies that will increase cultivation of nutrition crops. Care Country Deputy Director Mwende Kisue says there is need to increase cultivation of nutritious indigenous crops in the country to boost health and reduce incidences of stunted growth among the populace.
A Zero Hunger report by the Food and Agriculture Organization and the World Health Organization revealed that Sub-Saharan Africa leads in the malnutrition prevalence. Eastern Africa recorded a 29% prevalence of undernourishment, while 69.2% of the population experienced moderate or severe food insecurity. Nutrition experts now say there is need for a multi-agency collaboration to formulate policies that will increase cultivation of indigenous crops to boost nutrition.
Making sure that they are using climate-smart production technologies for their production, ensuring that they are growing crops that are also drought-resistant, ensuring that we also provide them with climate information for decision-making.
Indigenous crops can withstand harsh climatic conditions, increasing small-scale farmers' earnings throughout the year.
There's traditional vegetables, including, can I say them in Swahili, like mrenda, kunde, and all that. So like traditional African vegetables, but also sukuma wiki in areas like Nairobi that is not, is a consumer county. That
the government has been encouraged to increase nutrition services, especially to expectant mothers, to reduce infant mortality rates.
Women in that reproductive age are not just consuming things like carbohydrates and all, but also that the micronutrients that they require are also being, we're also providing through their diversified diets.
For the way that we'll restructure our key messages around consumption of vegetables, first to find out, are they eating enough? Is the frequency okay?
To increase agriculture productivity and boost nutrition, players in the health and agriculture sectors want women to be included in the whole food production value chain through provision of cheap credit facilities and agricultural land. Benson Rioba reporting for Lunchtime News.
And now welcome to the world of sports. We start off in Europe, where Liverpool finally ended their Real Madrid curse as they maintained their flawless Champions League record with a fully deserved victory in a thrilling encounter at Anfield. In another match, PSV beat Shakhtar Donetsk 3-2 as Dortmund thrashed Dynamo Zagreb 3-0 and Aston Villa drew 0 against Juventus. Now to the English Premier League, where former Manchester United assistant coach Ruud van Nistelrooy will replace former Leicester City coach Steve Cooper, who was sacked early this week after a poor season run. Now Leicester lost 3 games, drew 1 and won 1 in their last 5 Premier League games, most recently losing 2-1 to Chelsea at home last weekend. Van Nistelrooy, who was the former Manchester United assistant coach, stepped in as the Red Devils interim manager, replacing Erik ten Hag, where he led United to a 4-game unbeaten run. However, it is not clear if Van Nistelrooy will be present for the game that pits Leicester and Brentford on Saturday. Leicester is currently 16th, 10 points in the Premier League table, having played 12 games and 1 point above relegation zone. United will be playing tonight against a team called Bordeaux in the Europa Nation League, and we wait to see what will happen there. You do know that right now they do have a new coach in the form of Ruben, all the way from Sporting, and that we'll wait to see how it will unfold in the Europa League. And of course, the Europa Conference will continue, and the English Premier League will be back this weekend. That concludes our bulletin this afternoon. Do join us in our subsequent bulletins, but you can always find more on our webpage at www.kbc.co.ke. Good afternoon for now.